Federal government says all sectors of economy are yearning for investments.
There is definitely the need to create a welcoming and enabling environment for the businesses to thrive. This can be achieved by reducing risk and cost of doing business and by securing private property rights or proprietary rights.
INEC chairman supervises mock accreditation ahead of Osun State governorship election.
We don't want a situation where voters will go to the polling unit and be waiting for INEC officials and materials. So we should go there long before the election so that we will wait for voters if they're there.
Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria wants judicial officers to abide by code of conduct for court employees.
You must be effective in your supervision and inspection of the area, Sharia, and customary courts. As doing so, we go a long way in building public confidence in our courts.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss 2022 trial census.
All right, so the National Population Census has been fixed for 2023, and ahead of that, the National Population Commission is intensifying all efforts to make this particular exercise a huge success.
And as part of activities Claire, lined up to ensure its success, a trial census has begun on the 27th of June 2022 and is expected to end on the 30th of July 2022.
Now, before the commencement of this trial census, the National Population Commission, saddled with the onerous task, conducted, of course, the geographical demarcation of the entire landmass of Nigeria into smaller enumeration areas or centers, if you may. Now, the essence of that is to enable the team, covered by the enumerators as well as first and second pre-test, to test the census instruments, of course, for any challenges that may come across.
Well, of course, the trial census, also known as the census dress rehearsal, is a key preparatory activity for the success of the National Population and Housing Census scheduled for April 2023. And for the ongoing trial census, 7,718 enumeration areas were selected to test the instruments procured for the actual census.
Okay, so as the census dress rehearsal progresses across the country, the National Population Commission, the NPC, is expressing determination to conduct a truly scientific census that will not only be accurate and reliable, but also transparent and acceptable to all Nigerians. And there's a reason for this, Karen. If you recall that past census in this country have not gone without, their issues. Of course, rejection, credibility issues, staff issues, and so on and so forth. So
exactly, and that has given us a kind of a 6 years shortfall, if you like, and
more than that.
We were supposed to have that in 2016. We had it, the last one in 2006, right? So by 2016, we're supposed to have another one because it's a kind of a 10-year interval, All right, now the Commission said is also to ensure proper planning and sustainable development of the country. And Claire, this is going to be the first digital census we're going to embark on in this country.
Hopefully, and we're all excited, and especially now that the nation is moving towards achieving population and housing census, which is, like Kieran said, going to be scientific, and we're gradually been, realizing this, of course, these efforts with commencement of this trial census. But there are questions that we want to ask. For instance, what are the challenges, that have been identified in the ongoing process, that's this trial census process, and how acquainted and patriotic are the personnel, the staffers of the NPC, those handling the exercise at the moment? These are some of the critical issues.
Exactly. Yeah. And there are other questions, really. The questions seeking for answers, which include how much of enlightenment has been carried out in the affected areas to give the exercise the desired attention. What is the level of cooperation and synergy among key players towards ensuring the success of the exercise? This is Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. My name is Kieran Umair. Thanks for joining us.
And I'd like to appreciate all of you. Some of you have reached out to us to say, this is your breakfast morning. You do not leave your house without watching Good Morning Nigeria. So to all of you, I say thank you, and I welcome you once again to another interesting edition. And it's reaching you live from our stables here on the network service of the NTA in Abuja. As always, we have our complimentary segments that will come up much later in the course of our program. For now, Tessie Mary is in the news studio, and she's ready to give us highlights of the news. Good morning, Tessie. It's good to see you again.
It's been a while, actually. Good morning, Claire, and good morning, Kieran.
You're welcome.
I can see you all looking great as usual and ready for the business of the day. Good morning, Nigerians, and here is the morning news. Federal government is seeing Africa's huge infrastructure gap as opportunities for private investment through public-private partnership. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, while declaring open the Africa Public-Private Partnership Network Investment Summit in Abuja, said all sectors of the economy are yearning for investment.
Create a vibrant private sector on the continent and accelerate infrastructure development. A number of issues must be addressed. There is definitely the need to create a welcoming and enabling environment for the businesses to thrive.
I'd like to encourage every member of this network to take full advantage of this investment summit to attract more willing and capable private investors to invest in infrastructure development in Nigeria.
Fund is a coward. It goes to an environment where it's well protected. We want to assure international community that their funds are well protected in Nigeria.
And on to judicial matters, there are renewed efforts at enhancing the efficiency and support staff in the judiciary targeted towards building public confidence in the justice system. This is to be achieved through the improvement of the day-to-day running of the registry at various courts. Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, wants judicial officers to work in line with the code of conduct for court employees.
Effective in your supervision and inspection of the area, Sharia, and customary courts. As doing so, we go a long way in building public confidence in our courts. Fight corruption, laziness, and other inadequacies in the judiciary.
We are saddled with the responsibility of overseeing the activities of lower courts and thereby ensure that errant judges are properly guided among their other responsibilities.
Conducting of investigations, petitions handling, and delineating of court jurisdictions are some of the insights to be gained at the training workshop for directors and inspectors of lower courts. Federal government says Nigeria is a country that is fully guided by a constitution that guarantees citizens' right to freedom of worship, just as it has no policy that denies them such right. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed restated this in London while reacting to a letter written by some Republican senators asking the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to immediately redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act.
to say once again, we've always said it, Nigeria does not have a policy that denies people the freedom to practice their religion. Neither does it have a tradition or an official policy of violation of freedom of religion. And it is not true that Nigeria actually persecutes anybody solely on account of his or her faith. We've said this several times. We're saying it again with all the emphasis at our disposal, because even the Constitution of Nigeria guarantees the right of anybody to practice his or her own faith without molestation by anybody. And the federal government has always striven to ensure and to guard jealously this constitutional provision. And when there have been violations of it, the government has been at the forefront of prosecuting, of investigating and prosecuting and protecting everybody who has chosen a particular religion or faith to practice.
First Lady of Nigeria Aisha Buhari has expressed readiness to collaborate with other development partners towards supporting tertiary education in the country. The First Lady stated this in a message during the presentation of instructional materials to the management of Federal Capital Territory College of Education, Zuba. The materials include different types of books geared towards enhancing teaching and learning. Presenting the books to the management of the school, the First Lady, through the media aid of the Aisha Buhari Foundation, BC Olumide Ajayi, implored them to use the books judiciously. On security, the Nigerian Police Force is building the capacity of commandants and staff of the Force Education Unit to bring up to speed with the current trends in the world of education through its trust fund.
The police force is founded on the bastion of discipline, and that is why we believe in the education of our children in a secure environment and the welfare of their teachers. And this is the reason why we liaised with the Police Trust Fund to organize this seminar for our teachers.
May I at this juncture enjoin you to actively participate at this very important program so that the laudable objective will be met.
It is the minister's wish and prayer that this will not be the only one, that it will be a continuous event.
And on electoral matters, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has expressed satisfaction with the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS, that is the performance to be used for the Osun governorship election. He made this known during a mock accreditation and voting exercise to assess the performance of the new technology ahead of the July 16 poll.
We don't want a situation where voters will go to the polling unit and be waiting for any petitions and materials. So we should go there long before the election so that we will wait for voters if they're there.
Osun State has seen that the new innovation is working and their votes will count.
Meanwhile, Ibeze North Local Government Area Office of INEC Enugu State has been set ablaze by unknown arsonists. The arsonists overpowered the security guards, forced their way into the premises and set the building ablaze. Although no casualty was reported, 748 ballot boxes, 214 voting cubicles, office furniture and equipment were destroyed in spite of the best effort of the Enugu State Fire Service deployed from Nsukka. INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, says the commission is working to ascertain the status of voter registration machines for the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise, as well as uncollected permanent voters' cards locked in the fireproof cabinet. This is not the first attack of INEC facilities by hoodlums in the state. On 23rd May 2021, INEC office in the neighboring Ibuza South local government area was attacked in a similar manner by unknown gunmen. This followed earlier attacks on Udenu local government area office on 13th May 2021 and the state headquarters in Enugu on 16th May 2021. And that's the news for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Claire and Kieran after this break. Thanks for watching.
All right, welcome. If you've just joined us, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service. And just a reminder, we'll be looking at the trial census by the National Population Commission against 2023 national census. But for now, let's talk a bit of business. And the Nigeria Ports Authority says it will pay more attention to reviving ports in the eastern part of the country. That's good news for, of course, that region. Let's join Alika Opanachi Arwa for the details of this and more.
The Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, says there is need to revive ports in the east to provide more marine craft and incentives for stakeholders willing to do business away from Apapa and Tinka Island.
We all know that the installed capacity of both Tinkan and Apapa has been exceeded over time. And because of that, you see there's a lot of traffic congestion leading to the port. Also, there is a lot of cargo dwell time, and the ship turnaround time hasn't been impressive, all because Nigerians and almost everybody has concentrated on doing business in Tinkan and Apapa. What we have done was to try and pay more focus to reviving the ports in the east.
The NPA boss disclosed this at the sidelines of the African Private Partnership Network Investment Summit in Abuja, and taking a look at Monday tradings on the floor of the exchange. With business news, Alika Opanachi Arwa.
Alika Opanachi with business news. Thank you. Next on the lineup is newspaper review.
All right, and it's my pleasure to welcome Bayo Atoyibi, and whose prediction didn't happen yesterday with regards to the Super Falcons match against the Bayana. You said they were going to turn Bayana to yes. Banana.
In fact, the name is Bayana. So I removed the Y and turned it to Banana. But unfortunately,
so it wasn't a prediction.
Our girls didn't live up to expectation. But that is one thing with football. You see now, the girls will be fired up, and I'm sure they will win their next two matches and they will qualify. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria.
You know, as a female gender, who is also interested in, who is patriotic, by the way, I look forward to seeing as to where it goes based on what the handlers, you know, and of course their previous, you know, performances and outings against the, you know, Bayana. But yesterday's match was, well, a bit lackluster at first. I think when the changes came in during the, you know, the tail end of the match, we saw some vibrancy.
I don't want to see it from that angle, because the girls played at their heart. In every match, one person will eventually win. What happened is that they didn't take their chances. Not that they were not playing.
No, Kieran, honestly,
that's my own perspective.
Yes, that's the perspective. No, just before you, it's also part of the review. If you looked at the way I started watching the match midway into the second half, and there was no the spirit, there was no fighting spirit. I didn't see the fighting spirit.
What happened in the first half?
I didn't see the fighting spirit, at least in that second half, which was very critical for us. And the connection, the ball passes. You look at the ratings, the South Africans have the upper hand. Through.
In football, all your passes don't go through. You didn't watch the first half of the match. The girls were aggressive at the first 45 minutes. If you did watch that, you know that they put up their best. And as a matter of fact, a match can be won in the first half. So
did you see the goals?
The South Africans came up more aggressive in the second half. That's exactly what you saw. But that doesn't mean that girls did not play well. That's my own concern.
In a tournament like that, it's always very drab with the first matches. By the time they get into the second matches, they will get actually into the form of the tournament. So let's hope our girls will wake up.
All right, okay. We've used that to review the sports.
Let's go to the Punch now. Punch newspaper for this morning. Above the nameplate of the Punch newspaper, telecoms get 30 days to resolve customers' complaints. That's on page 21. 20 recs retire in August as tenure ends. Tenure will expire between now and August. That's according to INEC Commissioner. This full detail is on page 2. All right, now Owo massacre. That's the kicker. Akeredolu backed Matawale on self-defense. That's on page 30. All right, 139 clerics worshippers killed, 394 kidnapped in 18 months, according to reports. Details on page 2. Solid mineral imports rise by 74% in 12 months. That's on page 20. All right, the lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning: 20 directors jostle to replace fired AGF. That's on page 19. 2 riders to that. Alamekwe redeployed to FCSC as director. Circular 6 Idris replacement. Sacked EGF to face disciplinary committee after EFCC probe, says Annan. All right, now the photo story here is the one of destruction of some cars. So hoodlums injure 6 Bauchi lawmakers over leadership crisis. Hoodlums injure 6 Bauchi lawmakers over leadership crisis. That must have led to the damaging of those vehicles. That's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. Lagos court remands woman for brutalizing 11-year-old over 1,000 naira. That's on page 5. Kids rescued from Ondo Church demand pastor's release. That's on page 29. Islamic cleric bags life imprisonment for defiling 8-year-old. Details on pages 4 and 5. Now, the bottom of the Punch: bandits kidnap Kaduna priest, Edo police free Italian cleric. That's on page 4. Traffic light: how policemen, Lasima officers extort motorists in Lagos community. Pages 4 and 5 is where you get this story. All right, we have federal government issues guidelines to retain oil sector spending in Nigeria. It's also captured on page 20 of the Punch. Claire.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at the Leadership newspaper. It also have some stories that Kieran just read, and the lead story there, if we can have that paper, it's of course on the rising insecurity and stakeholders asking for removal of security from the exclusive list, and of course while some say move will lead to chaos. That's coming from the former defense chief. Also on the front page there, you say Nigeria spends 11.8 trillion 8.2 billion on debt servicing in 7 years. If we also have the front page is that Okotebo replaces Anamekwe as accountant general. It's also there now. Religious intolerance, FG carpets U.S. senators over call to release Nigeria, and this story of course trended yesterday, broke yesterday. Bayo will speak to it in just a moment. Hajj 2022, Saudi extends landing permit for Nigeria. Hajj 2022, Saudi extends landing permit for Nigeria. These are some of the major stories on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. Bayo, I'm sure you would want to review the issue of the 5 U.S. Republicans.
Yes, the 5 Republican senators had actually expressed concern that Nigeria should be placed back on the list and be designated as a nation that is deliberately persecuting Christians. And the Honorable Minister for Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, says that this was based on a misunderstanding of the ongoings in Nigeria. And he explained that because it was proven beyond obvious doubt that there is no religion that is being persecuted in Nigeria. The minister emphasized that there are criminal tendencies and also communal clashes. Certainly, there's no gainsaying the fact that one of the criminal groups, which he described as ISWAP, deliberately targets Christians. But if you look at the profile and data of persons who have fallen victims of kidnapping and other attacks, they cut across among Muslims and Christians, and therefore the information that the senators were presenting was not true. He also emphasized the fact that religious persecution is not a part of the happenings in Nigeria, and so this information was very misleading. The other one you also read here now is the order given by the General Authority of the Civil Aviation of Saudi Arabia. They have now extended the airlift of pilgrims, which were expected to end on July 4th to July 6th. This was based in consideration put forward by Nigeria because Nigeria airlift of pilgrims suffered cancellations. There were delays in some of them getting their basic travel allowance. There were also delays in some of them getting their visa. This delayed State Pilgrims Welfare Board for converging pilgrims to the airport, so they couldn't be. So it led to about 13 flights being cancelled. Now they have between now and the new date to conclude the flight. So far, of the 47 from the data provided by the Assistant Director Public Affairs, Fatima Usara, it says that the 27,359 pilgrims that Nigeria is supposed to uplift, we already have a substantial of them in the Holy Land, and also among those that are lifted by the tour operator pilgrims, that are supposed to be about 8,000. Already 5,000 of them are already in the Holy Land. So yes, there's going to be that makeup.
There's a story I didn't read, Bayo, which I've just seen it now. I'm sorry. It's on the leadership, and it's on the absorption of returnee students. That's outcome of Ukrainian Russian war. The federal government says it will absorb returnee students into short universities, and that story is on the inside page, on page 8. But I don't know. What do you have to say to that?
Well, the situation is the war in Russia and Ukraine war. Nobody can predict how long it will end. The latest data that was coming there, they were saying that it will go on and on for maybe next decade or so, depending upon the situation. Therefore, these are some of the proactive measures that is being taken to take care of our Nigerian students who are schooling there. So what they probably will need to do, will get the academic transcript and see how they can be fixed locally in other universities.
It's also unpredictable.
How did they get the transcripts? When some of these schools they are attending in Ukraine are short.
Some of the schools are short, but again, you see, the world now has become a global village. Most transactions are now done on the internet, so they will be able to source out some of their data.
If their systems are intact, yet they will be able to retrieve some information regarding their performance within the years they've spent in the school. But if the system is destroyed, I wonder how they're going to sort it, right? So that's going to be a huge problem. But again, before they gained admission into those schools, in Ukraine, they had credentials, that of course they made them eligible to be given admission into those schools. So they could also present exactly. And if you have,
they are not fresh students. So if somebody is, say for instance, in a third year, but if you have, you need his academic transcript to be able to know. And some of them will have their GP scores for their first their second year.
But my concern is to which universities, because as we speak, even ASU strike is still on, and it's becoming indeterminate.
Yes, but there's some good news now from the leadership. Leadership is saying that there is a possibility that the ASU strike will end by the end of this month. There's one comrade, Dayo Israel, who is reported that he met with the Honorable Minister for Labour and Employment, and he gave him a positive indication that the ASU demands will be met, and hopefully by the end of this month they will all get back to school. Well, if that is anything to go by, then there is every hope. However, the president of ASU, Professor Oshodeke, is saying that there are two conditions that must be met. He is saying categorically that UTAS, the University Transparency Accounting System, must be used, and the 2009 agreement must be complied. Apparently, the nation is wary of strike already. This second strike, we started February 14, by today is getting into 140 days. Don't forget that last year we lost 9 months. That's the whole academic year. A semester is gone.
The semester is gone, and the second one is gone.
And we can't continue like that. In fact, I'm sure the lecturers themselves are embarrassed. Nowhere in the world do you have a university, a citadel of learning, where intellectuals gather and they close for as long as 9 months, and this time around, since February 14th,
this has been perennial, and the idea is that I don't think we've been able to fashion out an educational system that is befitting perhaps our population, befitting the mechanics of higher education in the country, in terms of ensuring that we have the infrastructure, then we have a good remuneration system, that of course the lecturers will take. So it's been dragged for too long a time. You can imagine 2009 agreement. What is this year? 2022. So it's a yawning gap, and I want to believe, quite frankly, that if the nation can sit back and say, look, let's go back to the drawing board and structuralize the university system in this country, with the emolument, the remunerations, and what have you, the system will continue running. Because invariably, if this system continues, by next year or even before that, it could have another strike. I'm not sure that the federal government will have what it takes to take care of all the problems of us, as it were.
At the last count, one of the demands was about 81 billion. You know the status of the economy
at the moment.
Even the budget, most elements of the budget are sourced from loans to complete the infrastructure. So where is government going to find 81 billion or thereabout?
I heard yesterday from the ASU scribe, one of the sister stations. I think he said that since the government, had stopped paying lecturers because of the strike, that when eventually the strike is called off and the backlog of what they are owed and not paid, that they will also start a new session, and the students will have to pay for the sessions that have been lost.
Students have nothing to do about it. Students are only victims. Students will pay for what? Students have paid school fees and they are sitting at home. They can't have lectures for no fault of theirs.
Some Nigerians like, in fact, what I've read in so many write-ups, not just social media, that the nation still embarks on projects worth 200 billion, 300 billion. We still embark on projects, but when we prioritize education, what is it? It could be a billion. How much was raised by the two political parties in terms of registration to run for presidency? you know, in the US, for instance, they attach those they don't ignore such importance. You are raising money for political activities. Then the educational sector, which is the bedrock of human capital development, is suffering because of it 1 billion. But to have big time projects that run into billions of naira, why don't we just say, okay, fine, let's take care of this problem once and for all. And education will say, because without education, look at now, our children and school are at home. That's what the Nigerians are saying. Our children are at home and school is one. Is that a good system? Is it because of it's something billion naira? That's not the point. People are saying that I'm watching those things and giving instances of projects the government have embarked upon. Not just this government, even people got administration.
Most of these projects you are talking about are based on loan. Tripartite loan, some of them with China, some of them with Nexim Bank, and so you bring counterpart funding for those projects that are determined to be very critical infrastructure for the system.
Banks can also assist you in educational infrastructure.
You want to take another loan to pay for us?
You can take a loan for anything. You can take it for education.
Okay, let's leave it.
That's what I'm going to do on the side of other Nigerians, not me. You know, what the argument? You know that look, that if you can embark on any project of that magnitude, education cannot be ignored when it comes to prioritization of capital projects.
Two stories about education in Lagos.
We're coming down. Let's quickly. We have
yes. I'll just quickly
to speak. Okay, go.
Two stories about education in Lagos. One is the one you read. A cleric who defiled an 8-year-old girl has been given life sentence. I think that is very good. And his name is Isa Mustafa. This is naming and shaming. It is very despicable. The girls, he sent the girl to collect onions from her mother, and when the poor girl came, he defiled her, only to come and say in court that he didn't do that, he only used his finger. The mother discovered that when she was about to wash the clothes of the girl, and he saw blood stains, and that was the signal. And good thing he has been jailed. The other one is the case of Lagos State Ministry of Education that has closed the Redeemer School. You recall the report about a 5-year-old girl who drowned from swimming lessons.
Yes.
Lagos State government have found that school had not completed its registration process, and therefore the school is in a status of not an approved school.
But you see, it also shows the strength of our what will I say, the strength of our supervision.
Yes,
it shows the strength of our diligence.
Okay, Bayo.
Ab initio, that school, well, okay, Karen,
we don't have time for it again. I mean, perhaps it will return in the next segment.
So, Claire, yellow card should go to Claire.
Yellow card, okay.
All right, Bayo, thank you for being here this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow for further analysis on what the papers are saying. This is Good Morning Nigeria, broadcast live on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, of course, we have a major topic for this morning, talking about trial census. Stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria up to this moment. As part of efforts to ensure credible and accurate census, the National Population Commission has begun in earnest the various steps towards a successful 2023 National Population and Housing Census. Now, as a backgrounder, let's bring you this report.
The National Population Commission is rewriting the census-taking history in Nigeria. Make sure, while you have a chance to play a part, that you are on the right side of that history.
Providing reliable data of Nigerians through a credible census requires meticulous execution of processes like logistics arrangement and management, questionnaire design, training procedures, fieldwork operations, publicity, payment system, data processing, data tabulation and analysis, which invariably necessitate trial census.
It's like a recce. It's like finding out where challenges could come from and we're addressing them right away before the main activity. That's what trial census is.
The model of census operation is in line with United Nations principles and recommendations.
The assessment is that we are on the right track and we will get a good census going in 2023 for sure.
The National Population Commission has already pledged to make the 2023 census fully digitized and has begun with a trial census in 286 local government areas across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Timetable released by the NPC, training of 14,461 field functionaries scheduled to last for 12 days usher in the exercise.
We mentioned to them that garbage in, garbage out. We don't want that. We want them to put in the best they could for us to have a credible, reliable and acceptable census.
Building numbering and household listing are to begin on 11th to 16th of July, while validation of remuneration areas, remuneration of persons and mop-up remuneration to climax the event. What more do Nigerians need to know on the trial census and on the investment put in place, especially the scientific materials acquired for the EAD to the main census? Key players driving the census program in Nigeria will be providing answers to all these questions and more shortly.
Indeed, thank you very much, Oluseyi Adeagbo, for this package. And as you must have heard, it's the National Population Census, and we're looking at the trial or dress rehearsal census. We have here in the studio two officials from the National Population Commission, NPC. Dr. Inua Jalingo, who joins us live here, is Census Manager, NPC. Thank you very much for...
Good morning, Nigerians.
And also here with us is Mrs. Amiola Olanipekun, and she's Director of Census National Population Commission. Mrs. Olanipekun, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, it's indeed good to see you, and we're also hoping to have the chairman of the National Population Commission joining us perhaps in the course of the program. But for now, let's begin this way. Enumeration of the country's population. This will be the fifth census in Nigeria since independence, and of course considered not so good, for a nation with a huge population that's also faced with the challenge of national planning and the execution of projects that will cater for the number of people living in this country. But for this particular edition of the program, let's get to know what you're trying to do, because the Nigerians will believe that over the years that MPC has been busy, planning out, even though we have a shortfall of 6 years and what have you. So what are you planning to do this time around?
Thank you very much. This time around, the National Population Commission is planning to conduct a fully digital census. Having concluded 2006 census about 60 years ago, we have gone into the aspect of analyzing, disseminating, and even projecting at some point data to make it still relevant for development planning. And specifically, we started preparing for the next census, which we thought would be 2016. And at that, we commenced the enriched area demarcation exercise nationwide in 2014. And this exercise took us through to the year 2021. Having all areas in the country now demarcated, with the exception of part of two LGAs in 2 states. And one good thing is the fact that we migrated from analog to full digital process. All our procedures, right from the time of the demarcation, were digital. And we started all this to leverage on emerging technologies to be able to improve on our process and increase the accuracy of our outputs. So for demarcation exercise, which is a key ingredient to a successful census, we had to go into every nooks and cranny, every locality, to divide them into small units that we call enumeration area, and these units are assignment areas for a team of enumerators during census to ensure adequate coverage. We don't want a size that will be too much for a pair to work in, therefore they will not be able to meet up at the end by the end of census, or a size too small. So all of this we have carved out, and that is now driving our preparation, because now we know the number of personnel we need, the number of material we require, and all of this we are exposing to test, because in a complex exercise as census we can't take any chances. We've got to be sure that the process and the materials, instrument applications are all proven and good enough to deliver on an accurate census. So in the process of now preparing towards the final, the census next year, we are trying to test those enumeration areas which we have carved out. Then there is the applications we are going to use for data collection, because we said we want to conduct a fully digital census. We cannot do this by with the normal, without a particular software or application that has been proven to be good. So we actually now went into the process of testing these applications, and also we have questionnaire which we have we have developed. That is questions we are going to ask Nigerians to get some information of each and every one. So all of these questions we have subjected to first test, second test, and we are now going into trial census to have a larger scope of testing. Okay, that's good, Mrs. Anyala. Thank you. You've actually told us quite a lot about what you're doing. So let me bring in the manager NPC, Dr. Jalingo. If you started preparing, we were supposed to have a census in 2016. And Mrs. Anyala just told us that you had started preparing, the NPC started preparing since 2014. So you started preparing for this census since 2014. You've had so much time. Why do we need to do a trial or dress rehearsal?
Yeah, just like the director of census have said, census is a big project. And it is not something that you just go and start and play. It's not a football match, that you expect that teams will play for 90 minutes and at the end of the day there may be winner or draw. Census is a technical process. It's one of the biggest peacetime operations that involves logistics and also personnel. So it is not something that for any reason anybody will take for granted that you just go and conduct it. Like she has said, we are deploying a lot of technology. This is the first digital census in Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria. The 2020 UN recommendations have recommended countries to explore digital means to conduct censuses, and Nigeria is about the fourth to do that in Africa, after Kenya, Ghana, and South Africa. So it is something that it is new, and everything that is new needs to be tested. And so even in normal procedures for conducting of censuses, we do have pre-tests, and we also have the trial, which we are planning to do now. Every aspect of the job has its own objectives, what we intend to achieve, and all these things. The trial census is a kind of dress rehearsal, and that is why we are using the methodology we are using. We are doing 6 local government areas, 100% complete, because they are a full unit, so that we can be able to test both our logistics, human deployment, and equipment deployment, and also to see how our data streaming and all these things should come into bear, because that gives us the census scenario that we are planning for.
Okay. Let's pause you now. And I know you answered.
Not necessarily a question, but to welcome the the executive chairman, National Population Commission, who just joined us, Honorable Nasir Issa Kwara. I hope I got that correctly.
Yeah.
All right. The executive chairman, National Population Commission. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, and to welcome you. Well, your subordinates have already, given us a key of what is being planned. But of course, since you are here, you're going to throw more light, on what we're doing. Because of course, one wouldn't say that the MPC has been under inactivity for years, but because I know you are, planning all these years that you've not been able to conduct any election, any census, right? So, what is in the air at this moment?
Well, all hands are really on deck to make sure that our preparations are right, and that we're going to conduct a very credible, very accurate and accessible census, and it's going to be a fully digital census. The activities have been going on for a long time, but census is a very expensive activity. So it started a long time ago, and it is a census of the citizens and the housing and all the other infrastructure. So for that reason, we have laid a very solid foundation, essentially with the enumeration area demarcation, which provides Nigeria the geospatial data and gives the entire housing stock, including house coding. We have geocoding of all the housings that we have. All the roads, all the streets have been properly named. All the infrastructure, including the oil exploration and production facilities, all those things have been captured in the enumeration area demarcation. So that is the base. Now we are working on counting the citizens, which is we've done the first census pretest, we've done the second census pretest, and all those things we wanted to test have been actually identified, and we confirmed they are okay. So we're proceeding with the trial census, which, like you said, is a dress rehearsal.
Yes. I would ask you, but let me first of all welcome you formally.
Thank you.
To Good Morning Nigeria.
Yes.
And to say each time I had to introduce you, I'm tempted to say Kwara. So maybe the people of Kwara should probably adopt you as the first son. Anyway.
Okay, so, thank you very much.
Just explain to us so that the average Nigerian out there would understand. When you say trial census, what exactly does it mean? Are you going to, as usual, start counting, people head to head, house to house, and take the normal records as in the real census?
Yeah.
Please, can you explain?
Yes, it is a trial census. Like I was saying, it's a dress rehearsal of the main census itself. So it starts with the arrangement, right from preparation to implementation of the census operation itself. So it also includes, moving logistical arrangement, the issue of publicity, issue of recruitment of the personnel, and arrangement to pay all the personnel. Then we go to the house listing, house validation, and then household listing. Then you go to the person's enumeration, that's enumeration of the people. We enumerate them once in a particular place where they live, and for that reason, all those arrangements have to be put in place to be able to count. And in this trial census, we are testing so many things. We are testing, for instance, hard to reach areas, riverine, mountainous, those local government or communities that are at the border, the highly dense population and the rural population. So many things are really being tested. So when we come to the actual census, we don't face any problem. We would have tried all these things, and whatever we're able to find out, the challenges we're able to find out, we will make sure we make arrangement to overcome them at the mess.
This is in progress, ongoing at the moment.
We're training.
Yes, share with us, how has it been?
We're training actually the personnel. We started with the first level training. We collaborated with the universities, over the professors, developed the curriculum for the training with our technical team. So we train the trainers. Then the trainers will go to the zones and train supervisors and coordinators. Then they will now come to train the enumerators.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. We've selected 6 states in the 6th political zone to enumerate an entire local government. Then in the remaining 30 states and the FCT, we pick senatorial districts and enumerate 3 local governments. Not full local government, but some EAs in 3 local governments. So it gives the entire spread for the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Nigeria is a big time consumer of technology, in terms of imported technology or, digital facilities that we require. Now you're talking about the digital census. We're going to be experiencing it for the very first time in this country. So let me ask, what are the characteristics, of the digital approach to population enumeration? It's going to be new to Nigerians, apart from perhaps the staff of MPC and the student workers, and what have you. So what are the characteristics of the nature of digital approach to this census?
Okay. The nature of the digital approach to the upcoming census is that Nigerians will not see our enumerators carry paper or pen. They will be coming into their household with personal digital assistant devices. That is Android tablets, which we are going to load in our software for data collection, and also the maps to guide each enumerator to their assignment locations. So we have that is to say the questions are in electronic format. They will read it out from the tablets, capture the interview the individuals in the households, and after completing interview in each household, they submit the data, and this is transmitted direct to our server. We have we're using the cloud and the on-site servers. So we don't have
Does it require any network? Does it require any network?
No, yes, of course we are leveraging.
What about areas that may not be covered by any network?
Okay, we have actually tried as much as possible to carry out a kind of research of network services that are available in different parts of the country during our enumeration area demarcation. Just as we are carving enumeration areas, we're also noting which network works where. Then for areas that are outrightly having difficulty with the network connectivity, the system is that the supervisors in such areas, the enumerator will transfer the data to the supervisor via a Bluetooth. The supervisor goes to locations where there are network to transmit this to the nearest point where there's network to transmit the data to the server. So at every point, is either the enumerator transmit direct, or the supervisor picks on his own tablet and transmit at the point where there's network. Now, at every level, each will have their own tablet. That is, the enumerators will carry their Android devices. The supervisors will have their own. Then we are going to have various levels of monitoring officers who will have data quality managers and other internal and external monitors who will all be on the field to see the process executed. And then in each LG, we are going to have a monitor, that is a dashboard, that will be able to track every device and track the work of every enumerator. We are able to know when enumerators commence work and when they end it each day, and even in each household. And also, as they are transmitting data to the server, we're able to see it. If there are areas they have omitted, the new technology we are using give us the advantage of seeing what is, having a broad view of the entire geographic space and every structure. Just as the Honorable Chairman has just explained, that every building, every structure, and facilities have all been geocoded. So all of this we can see at a glance on the dashboard. And then, as on the map, on the imagery map, then as they are covering it, it is now reflecting on our dashboard. So the manager on the dashboard in each local government is able to ascertain that every enumerator is working and that they are covering the areas assigned to them.
What about the inputs? Do you also have a way of ensuring that inputs are not manipulated, because it is what the enumerator feeds into the system, that is recorded?
Yes, that is a training issue. We have had to give them as many days as 12 to ensure that they are thoroughly trained and to know what we actually want them to capture in the field. We try to explain, to teach our concepts and give them the definition for every project. Every term have its own definition in every project. So the definition of our terms we have made known to them and taught them in a manner that they will go in there and effectively capture the information according to instruction. We have our instruction manual that is to guide them. This is in electronic form, which is in the tablet they are holding, and we also have it in paper form, which they can read for those that find it more convenient to read literature. And then at different point, we have supervisors who goes around to make sure that they are doing what they are supposed to do. Because for digital, it is more, it is easier to commit errors that are not dictated. And so we cannot take chances of allowing them to just go without fully proved. So we are testing them, giving them daily quiz, exposing them to simulation sessions, and then taking them into field to go and have practical experience even before we go out again for the actual trial census. So all of this we are trying to prepare them so that we have.
Kiran, sorry, just before you take, I'm also interested in the quality of your enumerators, because that's very critical. It is part of what has brought us this far. Yes. What are the requirements of the enumerators that you have enlisted?
Okay, for the census,
the qualification requirements.
Yes, for the census we said every process will be digital, and this commenced with an e-recruitment. And when we set out to do this, we also came up with roles and responsibility of each category of our functionary, starting with the enumerators, and having know their role and responsibility, we now bring up a list of qualifications to fit these roles. So for an average enumerator, you must have an OND or a degree.
Okay.
In some except in areas where, because as much as possible we try to localize our recruitment. So where we do not have this in sufficient quantity, we allow school certificate holders that of some years experience.
Okay, when you mentioned OND, I was just wondering, whether it's a test they're going to perform, because a person's character, a person's demeanor determines what he's going to do, irrespective of qualification. Because if anybody, what she's saying is, what I'm trying to say is that qualification may not be determinant for who will be a good enumerator in the first instance. All right, so let's go to Jalingo once more. Now, the credibility of censuses, of course, is a key factor here, because the previous ones that Nigeria had, like this question of people saying that they're not credible, the numbers are not matching. Regions were working towards providing the highest number of persons in this country. Now, how do we guard against this? Now that you are going to deploy a digital system to be able to get it done. And when my colleague was asking about the issue of a trust with respect to the enumerators, somebody could manipulate, numbers and what have you. What is the monitoring mechanism? Well, I would like to expatiate on that, because she mentioned a little bit about monitoring of the enumerators to ensure that they're doing the right thing.
Thank you very much. The digital technology, I always call it, provides limitless opportunities. Because the limit of your knowledge is what the opportunities you have in digital platform. And thanks be to God, some of us in the commission have done the last two censuses, 1991 and 2006. We are the key players in those two censuses. And we have also learn the mistakes that have taken place, and thank God we are at the technical helm of operations. So we have garnered over the 30 years plus a lot of experience. We work in all ramifications in terms of training, data processing, and all these things. So we all know the problems. And I always tell people, as a census practitioner for 30 years, if you complete 10 questionnaires, not correctly administering it to the individuals, I'll be able to, by the grace of God, trace about 80% of dust. With digital technology, if you complete 10 questionnaires, by the grace of God, we'll be able to trace almost 100% of those questionnaires, whether they are truly administered or not. The Commission have what we call 5-tier strategy, data quality strategy in the first place. The use of technology provides those opportunities to test this. Even the copy operations we use will not allow some errors into the data. Apart from that, we have what we call the interviews, whereby some independent interviewers will be sent to some households to go and conduct some interview. In addition to that, the Director of Census have said what we have at each local government area, we have the quality assurance managers. These quality assurance managers have a dashboard that they see whatever an enumerator is doing on the field real time, exactly, and what household is assigned to him, so the enumerator's footprint is also identified. And this data is validated. If there are issues that the quality assurance manager is not comfortable with, he will send the field coordinators to go and ground truth or the supervisors to check what the enumerators are doing. And apart from that, we have independent monitors, which we use internally, and we are also going to open our systems to monitoring by civil society group and other group. In addition to that, we have what we call enumeration dashboard. This dashboard provides the chairman and commissioners the opportunity to see in real time what each and every enumerator is doing in the country, because it narrows down on that. These are the opportunities that a digital census provides. It tells us how many hours it took you to enumerate a building, how many minutes it took you to enumerate a household. So, and all these things, based on the trials and the pre-tests we have done, we know the parameters, we know the average times and all these things. So it sends signals to us.
This sounds too good to be said.
In addition to that, I can keep on telling you the digital opportunity. When you are advertising, we showed that we have what we call call center. This call center will operate 24/7 during the census periods. For now, we are operating between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. because of the trial census, but during the census period, we are going to scale that call center to 24 hours operation. It also gives us feedback from everywhere in Nigeria about what is happening. And this also has its own dashboard. So we have enumeration dashboard. We have also MDM, mobile device managing systems that will tell us whether the enumerator has internet connectivity on his tablet, whether he's running out of battery. So it will also tell us where each of the tablets we are going to deploy for the census, where they are located on the face of Nigeria. Are they crossing the border of Nigeria? Have they crossed to another local government area where they are not assigned? Have they crossed to another state where they are not assigned? Have they moved out of the enumeration areas where they are not assigned? And we have the advantage of also geofencing this equipment to work in the designated areas. Just like we geofence our recruitment process, only those people that are in that local government area can access our portal and seek for employment. So all these are the...
And how do you monitor, cross-border elements, who could, coming from different borders of the country to partake in this registration?
Like now, our e-recruitment portal, by the grace of God, and that is what the commission have spent most time doing. We have set up a lot of systems, and everybody knows that setting up system is not an easy thing. For our trial census, everybody that tried to access our portal, if you are not in Karu local government land area, you cannot apply. And this system checks you by your NIN number, which is unique, and immediately you put your NIN number. We verify with the NIMC database to ensure that the NIN is there. You take your pictures. We also verify that picture against the NIN database.
What about the children? Do they have NIN children?
Children are not going to be enumerators, supervisors also.
No, that's
but,
recruitment.
Okay, we are now trying to say the people that we are recruiting.
Okay, recruiting. Okay,
the people that we are recruiting to work for us.
Okay.
We have to know who they are.
Yes.
We also have to know their qualifications, because we are going to upload these qualifications, and we are going to generate identity card from the system and give them. So even if you take somebody's name or something of that nature, we are going to generate the identity card as it is in the name.
I have a question for Chairman, but let me just again get some clarification from you. The questionnaires that you distributed or that you generated, what is the model of that questionnaire? What kind of information is being solicited?
Yeah, it's a population and housing census.
Yes.
First, we look for demographic characteristics of the individuals. We need to look at their sex.
Just break it down. So,
okay, their sex, their age, their qualifications. Then we look at their residential status, their migration information. Have they moved or are they still in the one place? Because migration is also a very important characteristics. Then we also look at other indicators that are socio-economic indicators.
Like?
Are they engaged in any work activity in terms of employment? So all these categories also we capture them. In addition to all these social demographic information, we also capture the housing characteristics of where they live. So, and also what facilities do they use in those houses. All these we capture as approximate determinants of knowing the wealth status of individuals.
I was wondering because we understand that previous censuses and the questionnaires have not accommodated most of the indicators of course that will give you accurate information. For instance, if you look at our health indicators now, the number of our maybe the fertility rate and maternal mortality rate and things like that. I don't know if
all these including the disability status.
Yeah, exactly. And because we also have now other genders, and if you don't capture them, you'll be liable to some legal implication. Sure. But Chairman, let me again, you've told us that this particular exercise is restricted to certain 6 states from the geopolitical zones, from the 6 geopolitical zones.
Yeah, that's where we fully cover a local government.
Yes, you've told us that you're also looking at maybe the difficult to reach areas, which may be one of the markers. Yeah. But apart from that, what was your consideration for the selection of participating states now, LGs and the EAs?
Okay, there are many considerations. Sometimes, people, for instance, live in a state, but when it comes to elections, they rush to their states or local government or villages to go and conduct elections there, or even for censuses. They want to boost the the population. We don't want that. We want everybody to live where he, to be counted where he lives and earns his income. Because we want to determine the pressure on infrastructure and provide the information to government so that they'll be able to upscale if there's need for that. We also took into, that's the issue of migration element. That's why I said in Lagos, in here in FCT, in Nasarawa, you find people moving during elections or during censuses. So we picked, for instance, Karu for that. Then we also took note of local governments that are contiguous with other states. Other countries. We have, I think, in the north, Daura, and we have in the southwest, the Ogun State. So those are the basis for those kind of selection. Then we look at a typical local government that is normal, which we have. So we picked, I think, Anambra. Yeah. Anambra is captures that.
The Middle South.
In the Middle South in Anambra. Then in Adamawa, we pick Congo. It's a hard to reach area, mountainous. We have to climb before we get to some communities. And in Balsa, we picked Brass, very far deep into it. So those are the kind of characteristics. And along the line, you were asking questions about the quality of enumerators. Truly, you can't get quality data until you have a quality enumerator, person that will be able to get to. So that's why they have to be properly trained. And in the training, we instill in them the spirit of nationalism. Take this project as your own. You are not just doing it for doing sake. You are doing it for Nigeria. We need to have this accurate data for Nigeria to use and plan for the development of this country. The government needs the data, private sector needs the data, international community needs the data to be able to really plan for the development and support for the country.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
the nation has not had census in a very long time, 6 years now, and many Nigerians have been born, since then. And someone who is 6 years in Nigeria today, of course,
I've not been enrolled
exactly, and they don't even know anything about census.
Yes.
So even have some, they're not. If of course some school curriculum, does not cover census as part of a subject or something, they've never heard about it. So you require some level of awareness creation.
Sure.
How much of this have people been put in place? Because when an enumerator is asking questions, some Nigerians may even not be prepared to give out some information required of them because they will say, look, we don't even know what you're doing this for. So what level of awareness have you been able to create, or are you creating, or do you intend to create, as time goes on? Because what the census is in February, in April next year. All right. So how are you going about that to re-educate Nigerians on what census is all about and why they should comply?
Okay. Thank you very much for this question, and that's I believe why we're here. And thank you for providing this platform for us to be able to have this program. We, apart from the normal advocacy and sensitization that we carry out, I do it myself, all the commissioners do it, and at the local level, we all do that. We have both the TV and radio talk shows. We have stakeholder engagement. We have town hall meetings. We've been holding that. At the national level, we will soon be conducting a national stakeholder program with Mr. President in attendance. Once he give Nigerians the push to be able to come out and get enumerated. And we have not done that at the state level. We're engaging the National Orientation Agency, but we want to take them on as a partner. Very soon we'll be meeting with them to we'll come with an elaborate proposal that we will use to be able to reach out to Nigerians so that everybody is sensitized. Everybody is enlightened and educated on what is coming on during the enumeration exercise. So advocacy and publicity is very important. That is the main important thing that will make this census acceptable. Get people to know about it. Let them be involved. When you do that, when at every level they are carried and they see how it's conducted, they will, when the outcome is reported, they will accept it because they are part and parcel of the whole process.
All right, let's quickly take a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at other aspects, critical aspects indeed, involved in the process of conducting a national census. Don't go away. All right, welcome back. It's been an interesting conversation. We have here with us the Executive Chairman of the National Population Commission, Honorable Nasiru Isokwara, and we have two other officials of the National Population Commission, Dr. Jalingo and Mrs. Olanipeku, also here with us. Before we went on the short break, the chairman was speaking to us, and I said we will come back and take some more questions. Now, I'd just like to ask that in view of the different and varying population figures that we're having from all the institutions. We have the NBS is giving us maybe 200 and something. IMF has its own. The World Bank has its own. US has its own. So what figure are we working with for this census? Let me start with Mrs. Olanipeku. What particular figure are you working with? Is it 200? Is it 202? Is it 216? Is it 270? Because you must be working with something.
Okay, actually the 216 came from the National Population Commission, and that is what Nigeria is working with. Meaning that is what we have for year 2021. Okay. Projection, and that is what that exactly is what we are also using to project our needs and assignment of materials and men to for the census, because as I said, we have gone into the nooks and crannies to carve out enumeration areas and having estimated population in each of these enumeration areas. Now, meaning that for each enumeration area, we're expecting that an enumerator will cover a certain number of people within that EA, that is the enumeration area. Now, we expect it may be the exact number, it may be a little above, it may be a little below. It's an estimation, but most especially we have made it a moderate number that we engage the enumerator throughout the census period. So the 260 million is actually what we are working with.
The estimation you are working with.
The estimation we are working with.
All right. What about Nigerians in the diaspora, or those who may have traveled within the period of this enumeration? How do we capture them? Is it do you have the provision to capture Nigerians living outside the country and those who may be in transit, during the census? That is one. Another is many ethnic groups drawing from what happened in the past. They have these religious beliefs, that they don't allow, especially the women, to be counted and what have you. How are you working on that, Mr. Jalingo? Do you consider that aspect, as something that could be an inhibiting factor in the process of getting this census done?
With people like you in the media, Karen, and other so many professionals out there, is to educate the people what the census data is for. It's for national planning and development. And and I'm happy because all these are advocacy materials. They are things to advocate to the people, to educate Nigerians that this census is for national development. Not only that, Nigeria is a part of the UN family. And as a member of the UN, you have to also, we are obliged to also have the sustainable development goals, We submit indicators and to compare with other countries how we are performing in globally among other countries in terms of our development, where we have challenges, where we need support and all this. So it's only the census data that can, if you look at the sustainable development goals, if you look at the indicators, it's only the census data can give you. Nigeria, as big we are, when you go, you see some of these indicators are blank, and it's not good for us. It's not good for our image. Smaller countries have been conducting these censuses regularly, some even within 5 years. Like South Africa, every 5 years they conduct a census. England, every 5 years. US, as far developed as they are, every 10 years they have been conducting censuses. India, like that, for over 100 years, they have been conducting censuses. So apart from that, even our local economic recovery growth plan, this is supposed to be benchmarked based on certain indicators, and there is no way you can get these indicators. It's only the census data that can provide you these indicators at the lowest geographical level, so that you can benchmark, are you making progress in terms of this? And also even our political heads, like I have said, I was in Ghana and I was marveled when they are designating their census result. Every minister is held accountable to the indicators that they got from the census. The Minister of Water Resources is there, and people are asking him questions. What is happening in this region that they don't have good sanitation, they don't have good water, and all the ministers, that the data that they are subjected to this. And you know, the census is going to give us another platform, this particular census, to benchmark the coming administration, which are coming just in time of the census.
What you are saying are real. How do you now get a section of Nigerians who may not wish to be counted based on their beliefs? Are you going to involve leaders in different strata, or religious leaders, the traditional rulers, local government chairmen, councillors, and all that, to reach out to, because it is people who are in the remote part of the country that will refuse to be counted.
Advocacy at the highest level, the chairman have told you, he is doing it at the national level. If you see the level of engagement with traditional rulers, with civil society, and all these groups at every level, educating them on the census, I think the commission has indulged the media.
Okay, because it's a fundamental issue Kieran raised, because remember, it used to be a problem in immunization, exercise at a time in this country, and that's what the reason why we are yet to attain universal. Yes.
And to answer your question, Kieran, on the aspect of persons in diaspora, census is a snapshot of population of a nation, and it's always taken within a defined scope. Therefore, a geographic scope. Thank you. It's going to be census within Nigerian geographic scope. As many as coming into Nigeria as at the time of the snapshot will be captured, and all that have moved out are out of the photograph.
Period. So, the chairman, I know you want to add.
Yes.
So let's just leverage the time factor.
Okay.
Please also take the question on credibility, collaboration with other agencies, similar agencies. And I'm asking this question because a lot of Nigerians live in areas that are not properly addressed. For instance, you want to visit someone, and he or she will tell you, look, you can't get to my house except I get somewhere to pick you, which means they don't have proper addressing system. So how are you also dealing with that?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to add to this discourse about religion affecting. Nigerians are so well sensitized now. Nobody will say he will not want to be counted. To even address that problem in the past, we pair enumerators, especially in the north, where you have Poda. You have a young man and a lady. If the young man is denied access to go and count the women, the lady will be there to count. So we have eliminated all those issues about religious beliefs. Then the issue of collaboration. We are collaborating very well with data generating agencies and end users too. We collaborate with MBS very well. It's a very strong family now. We collaborate with NIMC doing identity management. We collaborate so much with them, and so many other agencies the United Nations agencies that support us in doing this. And you see, the data that we've generated through the enumeration and demarcation has made it possible for us to collaborate with the Nigerian Postal Service. We are working with them to develop for the country a digital address system that a postal code system that is going to be based on houses, not just on areas or local government. That the postal code. You can now, since we have the code for every building, you can now have an address and a postal number for every building in this country. So we're going to have a very robust postal address system.
Still on the issue of demarcation.
Yes.
Right. What technology or whatever approach did you deploy to be able to demarcate Nigeria properly? Because I know it requires a lot of mapping.
Yes.
Using perhaps digital facilities, area ones, and what have you. So, did you collaborate with any other agency who perhaps may have the capacity, to do all of that, to provide the real demarcation for the country, ensuring proper coverage of the entire geographical area of Nigeria where human beings reside?
Yes, we have collaborated with agencies that deal with the satellite images. There's the ENRI that we have so much obtained the satellite imaging system from that we use to get the data. What we have in our system is far better than what you have in the Google Map and what have you. Ours is more detailed than that, and it's because we deployed this high-end technology, and for that I would like to announce that the National Population Commission and Nigeria has been given an award. Out of 100,000 countries or users of these facilities, Nigeria has been given an award, a global award, that this month we're going to take the US for the deployment of this kind of technology. And I would like to also add that no nation in Africa has done the kind of work that we've done in the field of geospatial data. Combining census data and geospatial data, no country has done that in Africa.
I hope you use our own satellite. Did you use the Nigerian satellite, or did you use the Intelsat, Canadasat, and what have you? Because of course we hear that the National Agency for Space Research and the National Development, of course, say have up to 2 satellites operating. So I wonder, I don't know what you deploy to get this done. Whichever way, Chairman, but you're not obliged to add. I would prefer for them to patronize local indigenous.
You did say what the technology, the software you used.
We developed in-house. The software for that, by NPN.
We have started exporting it.
Yes.
Sierra Leone.
Yes.
What we have done for the EAD, the software application we have done, Sierra Leone have to take some of our staff to go and assist them with that. Just like I have said, it's one of the best thing to happen, and it's even going to improve census taking globally.
Yes.
Because presently the United Nations Population Fund is studying our methodology and discussing what we are, so that if what we are achieving in Nigeria can be taken to other countries. Like I said, it took Ethiopia about 3 months just to provision their tablets for use. That means you have increased your census length time by that 3 months. And this is what we are doing in 1 minute because of the procedure we adopt.
No, sir, honestly, Claire, it's when Nigerians come to the table to design a project, we are perfect in terms of, structuring, in terms of the articulacy and what have you. But the implementation has always been our problem. So this is going to be a test case for MPC. We wish you well, because all is being equal. If we are not properly counted, Claire, I mean, planning will be a ruse.
All right. So let me. We have few minutes more. This the main census itself is scheduled to take place next year, which is also our election year, and precisely, if I'm right, please, if I'm wrong, correct me, April 2023, which means that the census would happen after the election exercise. And people are wondering, first, there's this apprehension, why should we conduct election? When we have this at this period, and then again when the outcome of the census will not have any direct value on the outcome of our elections. So I don't know, maybe Chairman should start.
Thank you for this important question. Before we arrive at that date, we have to really collaborate, and we have to make a proposal. You see, the conduct of this trial census should have taken place
26.
No, in May.
Okay.
But because of the program of the elections, they're going to political parties are going to have their primaries at that time, so we have to shift it to this month so that we don't have any clash. So it's the same way the conduct of the general elections. We want to conduct the main census after the general election would have been conducted, and no problems. You are insulating the census process from any politics. Our data has no political connotation to anybody.
Okay, sir. How many days will the proper census take? Is it 1 day, after 2 days, 1 week, and what have you? What happens? Will there be restriction of movements of Nigerians? We'll have so many businessmen and school children, people go to school, and other businesses across Nigeria. Is there going to be sit at home for the purpose of census?
Trial census?
The main census.
Okay, you see, the census has stages. You have to, first of all, since it's a population and housing census, you have to do what you call the household house numbering, which will not affect the movement of people. You will do that and then do household listings. That will not affect the movement of people. But okay, then after that you do validation. That one will take 1 week? 5 days for the house numbering and household listings. Then the validation, 2 days. Are we having 2 days or 3?
Because they are going, as soon as we start the household listing and the numbering, the validation starts
immediately.
So it ends after about
the restriction of movement.
Well, I'm coming to that. When it comes to persons enumeration, that's when we have this restriction. It's also 5 days.
Okay, Chairman, I'm sorry. Just 1 minute, and this is just in seconds response.
Okay.
How are we also mainstreaming those that have been displaced, from their areas of from their homes? Like the IDPs. We had a lot of. Are you also considering this set of people? And I'm also wondering the post-enumeration.
Evaluation.
Yes, evaluation. How is it going to be done?
Okay, the questionnaire has been designed. 60 seconds. It has been designed in such a way that yes, you can be an IDP. We will capture you when you were to, but we link you to your actual permanent place of residence. So you can be captured for in an IDP in, for instance, inside Maiduguri town, where we belong to a local government. So during our analysis, we will link you to your
local government.
Yes, your local government.
Okay, so we don't have time.
Okay.
Lady. Honorable Nasir Issa Kwara, Executive Chairman, National Population Commission. Thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you, Kieran.
On the program. And Dr. Inoa Bakari Jalingod, Census Manager, MPC. Thank you for sharing your experience. You've witnessed the 2 different censuses in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
All right. And also Mrs. Ariola Olanikbegu, Director of Census, MPC. Thank you indeed.
Thank you. She has also witnessed 2 censuses.
All right. Let's do some sports news.
All right, and that's where we'll say our goodbyes for today. We'd like to thank you very much for joining us again, and do ask you to do film tomorrow. I am Claire Adilabu Abdul Wesat. Always remember to join us in a campaign against rape and rapists.
I am Kieran Umar. Thank you for watching and have a good day.